think you made a very smart move with the new haircut with this weather today, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Try to shave some years off. You know what I mean?
12 o'clock practice. When you heard your first minicamp practice at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, what was it? What was that reaction?
Um, I mean, I'm all for it. You know, I'm born and raised there, so I think it's all a part of the experience. You know what I mean?
What's it like going into you're 13 now?
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I got a good outlook on it. Obviously it's a different scheme system, so some learning involved there. But I'm happy to be here.
How'd you spend your off season?
Just with the kids, my pops. That's pretty much it.
You're still a very young man.
I hope so.
But how do you keep, at this stage of your career, how do you stay at top level off season?
I mean, you just find the time to kind of unwind, let go, and then you just got to realize when it's time to kick it back in gear. But for me, man, my off seasons it's much different than year 5, year 6, where I'm kind of focused on myself. I'm going into year 13. I got 4 kids, so a lot of that focus is on them. You know what I mean? So that's probably like the biggest difference and change.
How do you feel about this new movement, this new head coach, this whole thing?
I mean, I played against him when he was the head coach in Kansas City. When he was in Chargers and I was with Kansas City. I always thought his defenses, they played hard. They moved around a lot. Even from like the back end perspective, I always felt like his safeties were involved, in the game. And so they play a lot of top down. You could go watch Derwin James film, a couple other guys film. So I think that's exciting.
What's it been like having more guys from Louisiana, from Baton Rouge and New Orleans on the team?
I mean, it's cool. I guess it's just more people to kind of pick at and see where to go, where not to go, what to eat, what not to eat. So it's fun though, man. A lot of these guys, we all grew up, watching each other. You know what I mean? So to see all of us kind of to come here, you want to do something good, you want to do something positive, so you want to win. I think that's really the only focus.
Foster said last week that aspect of it could make you guys different and special. Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it hasn't gone our way, the last few years. I don't think anybody's picking us to do anything this year. And, if we could find a way to kind of come together. And two, man, like have fun. You know what I mean? Like I don't think we had nearly as much fun as we should have had, the last couple of years. And I think some people overlook it, but I think that's a big part of, winning, losing, culture, et cetera.
What about Justin Reed, the two you
got
there?
Yeah, I mean, Justin is Justin. Obviously, I played when he was a young buck with Houston, and I've watched his career kind of grow and grow into the person, the player that he is. He's a vocal leader. He's a guy that's going to put his hat on the ball. He's going to try his best to make sure everybody understands, what's going on. So I think the more dudes you have like that, I think the better defense you'll play.
I mean, the decision to work with them to stay here after the way the last couple of years went, like why is it important for you to specifically be here?
I mean, it's much bigger than me. I probably could have went somewhere else and did something else, but I think for me, man, it's all about my community and my family, and just trying to pour into that, as much as I can. So I think, outside of the football, I think the big reason why I'm here is, community.
How do you think the rest of the veterans kind of responded to this new coaching staff with Kellen Moore taking charge?
Change is good sometimes, sometimes. So I think everybody's excited. You know what I mean? People watched him, from afar, throughout the league, and when he was in Dallas, it was one of the highest scoring offenses, and obviously when he went to Philadelphia, Philadelphia was kind of struggling offensively for a minute, and then he came, and then he went back to the Bulls. So, I do think he has some type of impact on team, and he played the quarterback position, so he knows ball, and I think that's a good perspective to have because it is an offensive league,
And to that point, does this the beginning of the season, does it feel like a big shift or anything by chance, or is it kind of similar?
No, I mean, for us, it's not really about kind of paying attention to like outside, noise, anything like that. Like I said, we just got to find a way to come together, and the quicker we could come together, the quicker we could kind of get off to a decent start on the field and, make plays and have fun doing it.
How are you looking to see this defense improve heading into the new season?
Man, we could tackle better. I think that's a big point of emphasis, and obviously turning the ball over. Like we got to find a way to take the ball. So obviously tackling is important. And that's not something you should overlook. But I think it's all about the ball. You know what I mean? Like, how can we get the ball back? And put the ball into the hands of our offense because we got a lot of guys over there that could, that could hit a home run. So it's just really capitalizing on those opportunities and, hoping that really benefits the team.
How do you guys like as a secondary or the safeties? You guys are kind of the vets back there. How do you guys approach it with like such like a younger cornerback group? Obviously, Ike's
Yeah.
there, but I mean, Kool-Aid, Alontae.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about communication. We got the guys to do it. I think those guys have talent. On the outside, and it's all about giving those guys little nuggets pre-snap and post-snap. But mostly, man, they're young, so you got to keep them in tune. You got to keep them locked in and focused. It's not about the last play; it's about the next play. And so, I think that's something that obviously Alontae and Kool-Aid could get a lot better at, right? Just focusing on the next play.
Giving them nuggets and that's just kind of you though, right? Like that's just like you don't have to go outside of your character. Like you always.
Right. Yeah. I think that's part of my responsibility. And like I said, when you add somebody like Jay Reed, it takes a little bit off my plate. I don't got to talk as much.
How many like young people have come up to you and said that you've influenced them? Because a lot of times people they dream of being a quarterback, a wide receiver, but the high school players we come across, Tyrann Mathieu is my hero or influenced me.
Yeah, I mean, I probably say it's kind of split even, amongst like offensive guys and defensive guys. I think truly, man, a lot of them just love the way I play football and just love watching me kind of overcome, some things that a lot of people didn't, overcome. So I guess I hope I'm a teaching example, for them, in their life and, even their career path because it wasn't easy. I had a lot of injuries early on and kind of overcome that to get to where you need to be. I think a lot of these guys they just watch my story and realize that hey, I can do that too.
Does it feel like 14 years ago that you played at those?
Oh man, nah. I feel like every other day I'm like reminded of it. You know what I mean? Some way I'm in Rouse's, I'm on the North Shore. It's like old white ladies in there. They're like, hey, honey badger. I'm like, so that's cool.
Last season, you said that like the role was different than what kind of you were used to when you signed here.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how it changes with this defense. Like, does it get you back to maybe something you're more comfortable doing, or?
I mean, I hope so. I haven't really been here. You know what I mean? But from just kind of watching the film and really talking to the guys, it's really a vision-based defense. And I think I'm exceptional in that area. So, if I could play with my eyes and feel the quarterback, I know I can make a play.
What was it like having the fans here today?
It was cool, man. I was kind of thrown off. I didn't expect that many people to show up. You know what I mean? But you got to realize, man, it's New Orleans and people love their Saints. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we just got to do our part and just kind of get back to, just being together and then having fun, having a good time.
And we're sitting out of 7 today just because like you hadn't been here. Or is that...
Yeah, well, I mean, he was trying to tell me I had 4 plays, and I was like, nah. You know what I mean? So I think I did like 8 plays. But yeah, I was like on a pitch count today. So yeah, so I had to buck the system just a little bit.
Have you been paying attention to some LSU baseball talking about pitch count?
No, I haven't. I haven't. I feel bad about that. But yeah, I mean, did he make it to the World Series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll check back in. I'll tune in.
What about the football Tigers? I got to ask you about that
Yeah.
before you. Does
Well,
Pickett Kiss good?
Yeah, I heard about him. I actually seen him one time, and he's kind of like a blend of Chad Jones and Pat Pete, and so that's what I saw when I looked at him, right? But yeah, man, he's like, I think he's gonna be the next great one to come out of there. Obviously, he's a freshman, but I jumped off the porch early as a freshman, so I think we all expected him to do the same thing.
Tyrann, did you know Justin Reed much before this week? I mean, I'm guessing you run into him a little bit.
Yeah, we played together. Obviously, I played with his big brother. He's always been around. You know what I mean? So me and him go way back. Yeah.
Tyrann, I know you probably were asked this before, but what's your impression of Kellen Moore?
Oh man, like I said, man, he got great IQ. He understands the game, and what I really appreciate is, just the situational aspect. I think football is much more than, stopping a run or running the ball. I think the great teams they find a way to win situational football, 3rd down, 4th down, red zone. So that was a big emphasis, in our first team meeting today.
How you feeling about everything? There's a lot of change here.
I mean, I feel good. Like I said, I got a great outlook on it. I think Staley, I think he has a good feel for, what he wants us to do. And then, like I said too, from a safety perspective, it's a lot of vision coverage, and I think that'll give us a lot of opportunities to read the quarterback and make plays.
Can I ask, why didn't you think there was going to be that many fans here today? Was it like the weather?
Well, it's
heat?
hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I think we all appreciate it, but, who wants to go outside and, with a towel? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Is it still cool to hear like little kids yell your name and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that
I
pictures
mean,
and stuff from it?
that'll always be cool. It just really puts things in perspective, I think anytime you kind of forget about who's watching you, you know what I mean? You kind of reminded when, a little kid run up to you and, tell you how great you are. You know what I mean? So it feels good, but it's a lot of responsibility.
What are you hoping to accomplish in year 13?
Oh, man, I just want to win. Want to find a way to win, really help the team win, and, just make plays that, fans remember,
Because expectations are lower, what are the things you look for, like, over the next couple months to say that you guys will be better?
This is just about us coming together, I think if we come together, we could kind of block out outside noise and expectations from the outside. But yeah.
Corey Raymond wasn't your coach, right?
No, Corey came the year I got kicked.
Who was the DB's coach back then?
Ryan Cooper.
That's right. When you see Stingley get a contract like that, he goes to LSU. I think that really motivates kids to go to LSU because they want to go pro and be like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it has some impact. I mean, guys sign big deals all over the world, but obviously, I think with the kind of new wave of guys like Justin and Jamar and Stingley, I think kids, they relate to them. They're a little more hipper. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it has some impact on, recruiting and guys wanting to go there.
yeah, in this new NIL era, I remember there were guys selling honey bag T-shirts on the corner, so that was like not supposed to be doing that.
No.
You never saw a cent of that.
No. I mean, my aunt used to do that. But it's all good.
Tyrann, I think y'all have 5 LSU players now. Y'all haven't always had that many.
No.
Is that pretty cool?
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said earlier, man, I think we all kind of share, responsibility because we all were kids when the Saints were a really good football team and, they won the big game. So I think we all kind of share that experience and, we all want the same for this group.
You mentioned earlier about wanting to shake some years up. Like, was that kind of what you see?
No. I was just really, man, I'm getting older, you know what I mean? And it really just wasn't the look I was going for, anymore. So, that's really it.
Was it tough to cut it?
It wasn't tough. I just had to persuade my daughter. You know what I mean? Because, like, all her brothers have long hair, and it just looked, she was kind of looking at me, strange for like 2 days. And then she finally was like, Dad, your hair looks good. And I was like, okay, good. I can live with that.